Hello and welcome to the latest video in the ArduPlane Mission Planner and PixHawk Cube series. Now in this video we're actually going to Maiden, this model here. Now this is the one that we've been building through the series and we are ready to take it to the field. I'm going to show you the footage of how that all went and also what I learned, because the thing with the Maiden flight is the clue is kind of in the name. It's the first time you've ever flown the aircraft and you really want to make sure that it is behaving in the right way. So before I get into showing you that and we get too much in the weeds in this, do go and watch, if you haven't already, the other videos in the series. And there is also going to be a basic introduction to ArduCopter, so using something like a PixHawk cube on a multi-rotor as well. Check out links in the description. So there are a number of things that you can do to make sure that the Maiden flight is as successful as possible. The first thing, of course, is to make sure that all of the controls are moving in the right direction, and in one of the stabilized modes, fly-by-wire A would be my recommendation, that all the correction moves in the same direction as well. Now in theory, you've done all this on the bench before you went to the field and you're confident that it's all set, but it absolutely pays to make sure with a fresh pair of eyes after a good night's sleep everything is still working in the way you expect. I would always recommend having a spotter with you when you do this. I need to say a big thank you to Ross, my flying buddy, who was there for me for the Maiden. He's actually wearing my little hat cam and shooting this footage with me so I can concentrate on flying the model and handling anything unexpected that goes on. Don't ignore the basics of your model. Make sure that things like the central gravity is okay, that all the control surfaces are free moving, the battery's not going to slide around, the battery's fully charged. Do all those things, make sure that nothing's going to come loose before you go to launch it. You can perform a compass calibration at the field. It's recommended. I don't always do it if I'm relatively close to where I did the compass calibration last time. Doing the compass calibration indoors versus at the field when you're not surrounded by anything magnetic is going to make a huge amount of difference, and that can be the difference between your GPS flight modes working well and not. Now you can do the compass calibration by either using stick commands, I'll put a link in the description to how you do that, or by taking the laptop or a tablet to the field, plugging it in and just initiating the compass calibration just like we did when we set it up. I'd recommend launching in fly-by-wire A. That should mean that the model is going to fly straight and level and kind of do an awful lot of the work for you. Manual mode I don't really use, to be honest. Manual mode is there for me to click into if I throw it and fly-by-wire A does something really weird. I can flick it into manual mode and hopefully kind of bring it down without too much damage. But by following the process that I've outlined in this series so far, touch wood, I haven't yet had a disaster launching in fly-by-wire A. Have a bit of a fly about, make sure that you're happy with fly-by-wire A and everything is performing as you'd expect. Check the limits of the roll and the pitch that you've got and make sure that everything is feeling good. Now it isn't tuned, so it's going to be pretty basic, and again I'll show you what it works like with this model with the basic tune without me doing that, and then once you're happy I would then try a GPS loiter and it should circle around. Again, try and use a big open space with a half decent weather. With a smaller plane, you might find that you have to increase the bank angle a little bit, but it should kind of circle around the point. If that works really well, then and you're feeling particularly confident, then maybe try a return to home and make sure that it kind of flies over your head. It should come back. Now things like the return to home altitude, the return to home radius, all those things are changeable, but for the first flight I would just use the defaults and just see what they're like, unless you have experience with ArduPlane and you want to kind of tweak some of those things before you go to the field. But for me, I just go with the basics for the very first time, because all I'm doing is checking that the compass and GPS are working okay. The big trick is don't try too much on your first time out. This is a maiden flight. You're just going to go and give it a whiz. Make sure that the stabilization stuff's working. Make sure that the basic parameters are okay. Make sure that the GPS is all right. You can arm it, and things like loiter and GPS return to home in their most basic setup work okay. And once you've got that, then you can come back and tweak stuff. So let me show you the maiden footage and I'll show you how it went for me. This video series has been made with the kind help and support of 3DXR. 3DXR.co.uk are based here in the UK up in the northeast of England. And for me, they're the go-to place for anything that's PixHawk, Mission Planner or ArduPilot related. They stock a full range of PixHawk style flight controllers, a wide range of T-motor, ESCs, motors and props, and also have a full range of sensors for your PixHawk builds as well, particularly things like the Lightwear and Bennywake LiDAR and rangefinders. In addition to all the PixHawk technology for both multirotors and fixed wing, they also stock a full range of radio gear from people like FreeSky and others, and also stock a wide range of FPV equipment. So if you're looking for telemetry radio, super accurate GPS sensors, PixHawk, large-scale UAV systems, then check out 3DXR. There's a link in the description. So while this footage is playing, let me talk about what I found. Again, I'm launching in fly-by-wire A. Big thank you to Ross for this. After checking all the control surfaces are working okay, that the corrective movement from the PixHawk and ArduPlane is working okay, then Ross, my flying buddy, went and did a fantastic hand launch, and then I was flying around. Now, fly-by-wire A felt smooth, very, very stable, very locked in, and I didn't really have any problems at all. Now, because we've got servo auto trim turned on, the plane should automatically be setting the servo midpoints, and we'll see that in a minute, for the straight and level flight in manual mode. However, because fly-by-wire A is working so well, I don't feel the need to pop into manual mode, so all of this flying is being done in fly-by-wire A. The FPV footage that I've popped in the corner here isn't connected in any way to the PixHawk. I'll do that in a later video. This is just to kind of give you a plane's eye view of what's going on. Couple of things I'm noticing though in this flight that I'm not happy with. It has got a slight tendency to lose altitude. So we're going to have to go into Mission Planner and recalibrate level with the nose a little bit more up. Maybe another 3, 4, 5 degrees is probably going to be enough. So at cruise throttle, it's not losing altitude. Also, not a lot of authority at all for pulling the nose up. Now, that's not going to be the PixHawk. That's something I did spot when I was putting it together. The movement upwards for the elevator isn't huge, and I probably need to extend that. So we'll add a little bit more throw for those controls to give me a little bit of authority to climb. And the other thing I'm noticing as well is the turning circle in fly-by-wire A isn't terrible. But I would prefer on a smaller plane like this to have it a little bit more aggressive. So that needs to be probably tweaked up a little bit. Now the really nice thing is in the ArduPlane wiki, all of the corresponding settings that you can tweak for each of the flight modes are detailed in some depth. So I know exactly what we need to have a look at to change that stuff. So here we are on the desk. First of all, let's have a go at fixing the flight altitude. So what I'm going to do is, with it all plugged into the computer, I'm going to shove something under the nose until I can see the artificial horizon raise by about 5 degrees. Again, this is a slightly iterative process, but hopefully it's going to work okay this time. And then I'm going to go into the mandatory settings, accelerometer calibration, and I'm going to click on calibrate level. When I go back to the desk, it should now mean that when it's sat flat on the desk without something under its nose, it's reading as pointing slightly downwards, which is going to sort that one out. Next thing I'm going to do is to sort out the fly-by-wire A issue. Now again, looking at fly-by-wire A in the wiki, we can see there's a couple of things that needs to be changing. lim_roll_cd and lim_pitch_max and min need to be tweaked. Now to be honest, it's the roll one that I've got the issue with, not really the pitch. So lim_roll_cd is what I'm going to search for in the full parameter tree. Once I find that, I'm just going to increase that a little bit, and that should make the turning a little bit more aggressive, which is what I need for this little plane. Last thing I need to do is to fix the travel on the servos. Now for this, I'm going to have to plug the battery in. So again, just be careful. I've got my prop on here. Don't do what I'm doing. Take your prop off for safety. Then I'm going to go into the server outputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the travel just by 100 in the right direction for both the VTEL left and VTEL right in the servo tab. and that happens dynamically. So what you could do is you could hold the control on the radio at the maximum deflection and then change the number here in the servo tab. It's instant, so you should see all that moving. And again, the reason that we're plugging the battery in here is because all the servos are not powered by the PixHawk, they're actually powered by the battery eliminator circuit that's connected to the rails via the throttle cable. And with those two things changed, you can see we've got an awful lot more travel. So with those things tweaked, then it should be a lot better. Now, the next time I take it to the field, I'm going to retest all those things. I'm going to check my fly-by-wire A, check the amount of roll that I have, make sure that I'm happy with that, make sure that it's flying straight and level, having that slightly nose-up attitude. It means I'm not losing height, and you normally have to do that. It's anywhere between about 5 to 10 degrees. That slight up angle is what you need to stop losing altitude as you fly along. I've also then checked the GPS is working all right and that I have enough authority to rise and climb. Now in fly-by-wire A, the limits for the pitch are also set, but I wasn't getting anywhere near that because of the mechanical limit of the servo movement. Next time out, I'll probably have a go at manual mode. The servo things should be all set. Because it should be flying straight and level with the nose very slightly up, which is absolutely normal. I should be able to flick into manual mode and have much more aggressive flying, and all of the servo midpoints have changed. In fact, you might have noticed in that servo output screen, all the servo midpoints had been tweaked a little bit, and that was ArduPlane that had done that for me. I would also add an extra couple of modes so that you can flick into them. I would add auto tune so that you can go through the auto tune process. Again, I have a video auto tune. I'll put a link in the description. It's fully documented how you do it. You put it into auto tune and then you kind of rock it side to side. Every time movement you go through, you are getting about 5% closer to having the tune perfect. So you want to do it kind of 20 times or more left and right, and then 20 times or more forwards and backwards in pitch. And at the end of that, the plane won't be as good as in a manual tune, but it should make it an awful lot better and a lot more locked in feeling. Although, to be honest, straight out the box, fly-by-wire A in ArduPlane felt pretty good to me. Try a return to home and just watch the altitude that it comes back at, the circle radius. All those things are again changeable. Again, full details in the wiki. You might want to change that a little bit, particularly with a smaller plane. You might not want a particularly big circle in the sky. With bigger planes or wings, you probably want a more gentle big circle around the home location in a return to home situation. With a smaller plane like this, I'd probably want it slightly more aggressive. And now it's all together. The last thing I do is I take a load of photos of how everything is put together, how the cables from the ESC plug in to the motor, where everything's plugged in, just because in the event of something coming undone or in a crash, something popping off, you know exactly where everything went back together. So hopefully that's been a fun build for you and something to follow along with. We now have a PixHawk powered mini Talon that we can do other things with as we go through the next series. So join me for the next part of the series, which will be the intermediate stuff, where we'll start to add additional things and talk about extra stuff that you can do in both Mission Planner and with things like the PixHawk Cube that can add extra functionality and are fun things to play with. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.